Hi, I'm Samantha Bakewell.
And I'm Verity Hebbs. We're very excited to be recording episode 3. And this episode will be on the planet Jupiter, a very interesting and wonderful planet to be discussing and learning about. So a little bit about Jupiter. It's the largest planet in our solar system, and it's very well documented through ancient mythology, where Jupiter is often referred to as Jupiter or Zeus, the god of thunder. So, yeah.
We might have a look at the symbols to start off with, and what Jupiter rules and what it's exalted in. So the signs that Jupiter rules is Pisces and Sagittarius, and its Cancer is its exaltation. So Cancer being the second in the hierarchy system, but still very good. So all three of these signs work very well in harmony with Jupiter.
And if we just go back, so the top, should we talk about the symbols?
Okay, sure.
Just to explain.
Yeah. Oh, wrong one. Anyway, I'll just do this and then we'll go back to the first one, if that's all right. Yeah. Sorry. So Jupiter is in detriment in Virgo and Gemini, and in fall in Capricorn. Yes. So just meaning that it is not working as well with the planet. The sign and the planet aren't working as well, and it's often going to tell you something is unusual or different about the native or about the event, because we're predictive astrologers, and I'm teaching astrology, the basics of astrology at the moment, traditional astrology, but we're also going to be referring to events eventually, and other people. So, sorry, you wanted to mention something?
Oh, yeah. And that's a good point, like what you were saying as well, like it's just how the energy can play out. So if it's like you were saying with Pisces or Sagittarius or Cancer, it's playing out more easily or harmoniously for the native or the situation. Whereas, the other ones, it can be
Gemini and
Virgo and Capricorn. There could be, Jupiter could be less comfortable in how it expresses itself. And I just thought I would, just in case no one's seen the symbol for Jupiter before, so we've just put it up the top there. It's sort of like an upside down H or a 4. And then next to it, we've also just got the symbols for each sign. So there's Pisces, Sagittarius, and Cancer's symbols. So if you look at your natal chart, it would have that Jupiter symbol somewhere. And so
because everybody's got Jupiter
exactly
in their chart.
So you might find it with Pisces, Sag, or Cancer and be happy about that.
Okay, so let's go with what Jupiter represents, because it's always very important. So Jupiter represents travel, education, knowledge, wisdom, religion or spiritual concepts, your faith, freedom, wealth, assets, justice, the law, all cultures, charity, and good fortune. So it's a very lucky planet.
It's sort of like the higher, or sort of like things in life that we enjoy or that kind of make life better, isn't it? You know, when you think about like education, law, those are things that can help individuals and improve lives or benefit people. And then of course there's the luck sort of side of it. And with good fortune, would that kind of mean as well like money, because we're talking about sort of like opportunity?
Well, it is about wealth. So if somebody is ruled by Jupiter, that would have to come into part of their traits, is that they're constantly thinking about wealth or money, or their financial situation. So freedom is another very important Jupiter word. So
sometimes money actually can create freedom. And same with education.
Well,
things
education,
like that.
It's kind of interwound, because you have education, so you can travel, and you can learn something while you're traveling, so you end up with an education. It can also be teaching, because you're
to be the teacher instead of
so these words have a lot of different levels, you know, so it's not just about the education, because these words have been handed down from you know, thousands of years. So
where things like the education system look a lot different, and
open, think the broader sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Jupiter is also well, you were saying the greater benefic, but it's also a sect lord, you know.
Yes,
the sect
that's
lord,
a very good point.
The beneficial sect lord for a diurnal chart, the legitimate
so those people planet. Born during the day.
So both Jupiter and Venus are both beneficial, but Jupiter is just going to play out more benefits in a natal chart for a diurnal chart.
And it's known as the greater benefic, whereas Venus is known as the lesser benefic. Is that because it's just larger?
Also, it's that's right. That is larger in its orbit, and the distance between here, between Earth and how Venus is closer to Earth. Jupiter's further away. Jupiter is actually the largest planet in the solar system as well. So. And we have our great malefic, which was Saturn. Hopefully we did mention that. It's hard to sort of think about all the things we want to talk about.
Yes, true. Yeah. So for day chart people, Saturn, it's kind of like the Jupiter-Saturn relationship, isn't it? It's kind of very prevalent. And then Mars would be the malefic of sect, out of sect for the day chart person. Yeah.
Mars, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the screen once again and let's look at a chart. It's always easier to relate things into a chart. So this is what you would find in if you were to print off your natal chart. On the program we're actually using a Solarfire program. So this is how our charts look. I've got a dual wheel, so we have our number one. Just taken all the details out from the clients. And we have number two. So we have Jupiter in Sagittarius for our first chart. So Sagittarius is rising. And we have Jupiter in Sag. So
it's like an extra gift, isn't it, to be there?
Lovely. Yeah, it gives this lady a lot of good fortune and a lot of wisdom. So she's been somebody who has had a lot of freedom in her life. Like, even though she has worked full time, she had still been able to do all the things she likes to do. So she's because music's such a big part of a Jupiterian person. So she would go dancing after work. So she worked long hours, goes dancing. And she was a student of astrology as well, so that the whole learning, so people like this are normally constantly wanting to learn something, and travel obviously has been a very big part, and pretty much the chart is saying granted,
that sounds amazing.
You can have all that.
And her sun's actually in Pisces as well, isn't it, which is the other Jupiter ruled sign. So she's got a very heavy sort of Jupiter sign, like sort of chart going on there, doesn't she? A lot of Jupiter energy.
So the fourth house is about her home and her father. So you would expect her to have a good relationship with her father. And it's also, if it depends on what it's aspecting. So because I know this chart isn't making an aspect with Saturn, and it is a nocturnal chart that, I can say these things quite freely. And also home, so you'd expect her to have a really nice home, or want to make really nice improvements on that home. And our other Jupiter house is the Cancer house, so this would say that she's very supportive with her partner's finances. So so that partner has to work long hours, or that she would be quite respectful about that.
She plays like a positive role in that, because Jupiter is so positive in her chart, and Cancer being exalted in Jupiter, so that part of her chart is going to have a positive way of playing out.
That's correct.
Awesome.
But also because when a planet is in rulership and it's in the first house, so these people are very much about themselves also, so whatever she wants to do, she will put herself first, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, reading a chart and seeing, and that's what it says. So.
And it's nice if that is what you want, that it can play out for you without frustrations and challenges, and things
it's
like
not
that.
To say that she won't look after her grandchildren and help out, support others, but she will put herself first.
And that is an important part of life. So that's great. Yeah.
Okay, so so she gets a lot of freedom, and she does have a very strong faith in spirituality, and so that's been a big help for her. And so it doesn't mean that somebody who has got Jupiter and Sagittarius in the first house, is free from
any responsibility at all.
Well, problematic situations. She still has problems happen, but she can think it through, and react in a higher sort of status way without screaming and carrying on, and so she can behave accordingly. And so we have our Jupiter and Scorpio lady here. So we have another Sag rising, and we have Jupiter and Scorpio. So it doesn't have any dignity by what I call the 5 levels of rulership, and others will call it essential dignity. And it's also retrograde in the 12th house. So when you find a planet is in a cadent area, so when we get to houses, when we get to our lesson on houses, we'll explain all that to you. But because these classes are for all different levels, so some of this language for beginners is going to be introductory. For others, they're going to be able to follow quite easily. So Jupiter is in the 12th house, and it's retrograde. So it's saying that it is quite debilitated. So this lady doesn't get all her wishes, basically.
Yeah, she might have like a desire for something like similar to the first chart. She would like to
learn and study things, but it's always something that's in her way, so she can't do that as much. Her husband doesn't like to travel, so she, at this stage, she's only travelled overseas twice in her life. Once I can confirm, but I'm fairly sure it's been twice in her life. So it's a rare sort of occasion where our Jupiter and Sagittarius lady is always traveling, always going somewhere. So anytime she's tried to learn something new, it's been stopped very quickly for whatever reason, for money, other commitments. Now, I can say that because there's also the 9th house. So, I've had a glance at the 9th house to make sure that there isn't any other sort of higher education that's possible. And it's not to say that she couldn't have the higher education, just means that she has to work really hard at it. She's got to really want to do it, and there'll be lots of obstacles in her way.
Because it's her midheaven, isn't it, to be there in the 9th house? Which
so maybe later in life she might
travel, higher education
for that 9th house.
There's definitely like a desire to be there, but like you're saying, as Jupiter is like a benefic planet and it does give opportunities, that means when it's in a sign it's not as comfortable there, it can't do what it wants to do as easily. So it can mean working harder to do it.
So lacking freedom, inconsistent, because in the 12th house is also sickness, so lacking consistency in life, so it can't really be available to all things.
If it's in a house that's not, a sign that's not its dignity, or a house that's not its dignity, does that sort of mean that it will still try and give you benefits within that sign or house? It will play out. So it will be more being in the 12th house. Would that mean that if there's an illness, maybe they recover quickly, or they have good doctors or something like that? Would it play out in those sorts of ways?
It would. It would mean that she would find or she would work out that what the problem was with her health, because she has Jupiter in that house. If it was making an aspect to the 9th house of learned people or professionals, then I would think more to she would get to the doctors quickly. But there is some sort of protection for her health, even though it's saying health issues also. But because it's placed there, we would have to say something about her health, because that's where it is, you know. And of course, then we would look at the houses that it rules also. Right. So we can also say something about that in Sagittarius, it's a masculine sign, and therefore Sagittarius. So for our Sagittarius lady, we would be saying she's very assertive. She has also got a lot of things going. You know, she can manage a lot of things, juggle a lot of balls, because you know she's. It's a masculine sign that's working with it, and you normally find they're also extroverts, you know, with when they're a masculine sign, where Pisces is a feminine sign.
Interestingly, the chart too had Moon in Pisces as well, so that was
the Jupiter in Scorpio.
It still did have something, and she nocturnal as well. She had a nocturnal. So that's
both charts were nocturnal charts.
So they do have quite a lot of Jupiter stuff going on, but just in different ways.
So the signs like Sagittarius and Pisces are going to behave differently. You know, they're both ruled by Jupiter, but one is going to be sort of more empathetic, you know, the water sign, more spiritual, or more attuned with how everybody else is feeling, a bit more emotional, you know, where the Sagittarius is just going to get on with it, roll their sleeves up. So also Jupiter rules parts of the body. And so we have the liver, the thighs, the hips, your pelvis, and your feet.
And those are sort of the Sagittarius sort of body parts as well, aren't they?
Well, they're both really. Pisces is more feet, and your feet, toes, ankles, and Sagittarius is more hips, the like the centaur.
The legs and the hips and thighs.
Okay, so we can have other sort of ailments from that, which we probably won't need to go into it. This is just a basic lesson on Jupiter, and you know, we can probably explore freedom, you know, with our charts also. Like that number one chart, it's very hard, it's very easy for her to have freedom to do what she wants to do, and where our second chart, it's a little bit tougher for her to have to receive freedom. And also, like Venus can also is a beneficial planet also. So let me get this chart up so you can see. And Venus is opposed to Saturn. So sometimes another planet will be helping and give you other benefits. You know, so
like if Venus was to make an aspect to Jupiter, especially like a positive aspect.
Oh, that would be fantastic. That's something a lucky aspect to have. Chart.
So the first chart, Venus is in Aries. So with Jupiter being in Sagittarius, it trines. So that's nice, isn't it? To have the two.
It's a bit wide for an aspect, but by sign, by sign. Like the Hellenistic astrologers started off not using aspects by degree. So, you know, we could say it's by sign. However, when we're predicting events, we want things to actually gel. We don't want our timing, maybes. That's why we try to be much more accurate with our aspects, and, you know, with a lot of our assessing a planet, and whether it's in dignity or whether it's not. And just because it's not in dignity doesn't mean that she's not having a good life. She's just having something a little bit more a more simplistic type of life than the Jupiter and Sagittarius, who is having a very a full-on
Jupiter themes,
big life. All right. Okay, so I think we might wind it up for Jupiter. Happy with that one.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you. And we hope to see you for our episode 4 on Mars. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thanks.